Welcome everyone to our October chapter huddle. I'm Jennifer Steffen, as most of you know already, the chapter relations manager. Amber Yates, who is one of our chapter ambassadors in Area 4, is going to help facilitate or lead our discussion today. I just want to remind you of a couple things. We certainly have these set up. We have some subjects that questions we're going to talk about, but it's really for you all to come to us with your concerns, questions, things that may be happening in the chapter that you'd like some feedback, some ideas from your fellow chapter leaders or your ambassadors. So please, at any time, type those questions in the chat so we can watch those. And as we go through discussions, we want to make sure that we get those answered. Thank you, Cindy. She's already posted something up there, and we'll discuss that as a group here in a minute. But thank you for that. So encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to use the chat as we talk about subjects, if you have an idea or if you've tried something, put it up there for other people to see of what your experience has been to share that knowledge and information. So with that, Amber, I am going to turn it over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you're located. We're so happy you could join us. I wanted to start us off just kind of talking a little bit about, I just wanted to kind of see if anybody that's on the chapter huddle was it kind of affected by Hurricane Helene, and if you needed any help or support with it, with anything that's going on. So just kind of throwing that out first.
Anybody? I've seen a lot of, regardless of what state you're in, of truckloads and where you can drop off donations and things like that. So I think there's certainly a lot of support and help going there. But if I look real quickly, I don't believe I see anybody that was in or from the area.
Okay. I just wanted I just kind of wanted to start out with that. And then Cindy has kind of already started us off. So so let's see, she's asking if anyone has ever attended career fairs and, sat at a table and handed out resources about careers and procurement. Has anybody, I know Lynn has done that. Has anybody else on here done that? No.
Or
I
even
have done that.
doing it.
I have done I've done it for 5 years. This is Fatima. I'm sorry.
Fatima, can I ask actually, what do you have on your table? What do you come prepared with?
Okay.
What the collateral, or are you just there to talk? Kind of how's that set up?
Okay, the way that we have set it up, we have a tablecloth with with a logo. With a chapter logo, and we set up on the table. We put we had like a brochure that I came up with. A brochure talks about what the chapter is, and we put candies, and we just kind of talk to the students.
Oh, wow.
And or any, well, mainly we do it with the students. We do yes, through universities or anything like that.
That's really cool. Could you share that brochure, Fatima? Cindy, are you wanting a copy of it too? I'm gonna put your
Okay,
email.
I'll send it.
Yeah,
That's an old, and I don't know, I don't do it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So, but at least it will give you an idea of what it is. Just talk about what the chapter is, who you are, and then what are the benefits, the students' membership benefits are, and then what else? If I recalled, the fee that is free, and just talk about a little bit about mainly what is procurement, because then if you, when you're sitting in there, they don't, you say procurement services or purchasing, whatever, and they don't know, the students, they don't know what it is. They don't have no idea. So, and I encourage to have 2 or 3 people on the table, and be creative, and just put if you're gonna do a banner, that's what I've been trying to have our chapter to do, a banner to talk about, to show what is purchasing, put a logo and show procurement services or whatever, and tell them, so they can visualize what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're there to market our, our chapter, to promote. That way we can get interns. I guess that's the ultimate goal: promote our profession and get
Yeah.
get the students involved in an internship. But
Fatima, if you could share that brochure, because I think more than anything, at least it's a roadmap that someone then can take and edit to what they want to put in about their chapter. Sometimes just starting it is the hardest part. So if
right,
you could share that with me, then I can send it out to this group and at least gives a starting place
yeah.
for creating something like that.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
but one suggestion that when you do a banner, just do the one that's, that pulls up, and just put your logo and say procurement and something that relates to, so they know what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
it just, that's a visual, you want to track them. Because remember, you have other big companies trying to recruit students, but like Verizon, they have you, so they know what is Verizon. So, but we want to promote our chapter, or you want to say NIDP, whatever it is. But I will be more than happy to send that information. But don't laugh, because I made that back in 2008. So
That's okay.
Was it on Canva? Is that what you're saying?
no, I actually made the brochure, the trifold, and then I used to make copies of it, and then just fold it, and put it on the table. And another thing that is good to have, if you have promotional items and candies, that's how you're gonna
Oh,
attract
yes.
people.
I agree on that. I agree on that.
Yeah.
So those are the tips
That's
that I
pretty
can share
cool.
with you guys.
So does anybody have a brochure or something that shows different careers in procurement? Anything related to that?
As far as like professional development, like what type of upward mobility? I
Yeah,
think that
like if a student's gonna go to college,
Mhm.
so we're at a career fair and we want to give them information on procurement. Um, what are some of those careers in procurement that they could, go to college and get their degree to become, a buyer or purchasing agent or those type of things in the city sheriff's department. Does anybody have a brochure that's already created for that method?
Yeah. That's a
This
good
is for
question. Yeah. No, go ahead.
this is Fatima again. In the brochure, I did not include that, but that's part of the conversation, because you don't want to put that in there because anyone cannot qualify. Remember, uh, you have students that are in business administration or in accounting or anything like that. You're trying to sell, uh, to make it aware of what is procurement. And if we have to have a little bit of a knowledge of everything. So the only thing that you're going to discriminate are the people that are going on medical school or things like that, that are, but I would not recommend, putting, um, what the type of degree that you should have, because like as you know, we're coming from different background and we're here. So
Yeah.
that's part of the conversation. You don't want to put it in writing, but that's the part of conversation. You're trying to, to market, our profession, and making aware what it is. And also, what I will encourage, that I did a lot, they have like a lunch and learn, uh, once a month, each, all the universities, they do, and they get involved with them. Order some pizza. Just, my budget was $100. There was only maybe 30 kids, and we had a presentation about, what procurement is all about.
Okay.
So like a purchasing 101, know,
Right.
something like that that you want to, and then you can, you do it, you have that hour to do, to market our profession. And then you will have a lot of kids that they're interested, and then you're gonna say they have like a they call it externship, or there's a job
Internship.
no externship or
Oh,
job shot.
externship.
Yeah, there's internship that they come to your place to work for a certain period of time, either is paid or non-paid. And then there's externship, which is like a job shadowing, and they have they call it, they usually do it here in Florida during the month of during spring break, and then in December, right before the school breaks in December. Um, and then they come to our office and come for a 2 days or 3 days. It, depends on the student. And they come, and shadow us, what we do. They shadow the whole department, and either they can do it for 8 hours or 4 hours, depends of it. So that's a great program, and again, you're promoting a profession.
I do have one thing to share. Thank you for that, Fatima. I have, because I have like 8 minutes before I jump off. I did find a resource. Am I allowed to do a screen share?
Sure.
Okay. This is it's someone else's product, but it is something that we used in the past for our chapter. So let me it's literally called public contracts for like high schoolers. So I'm just gonna kind of go through the slideshow real quick so you can kind of see what the here we go. I'm just gonna go through here. Like it talks about what is procurement. So we explain to them what it is. And so these are for high schoolers, and this is the presentation. It's about 32 slides, so it's quite robust. And I can send this to the Insight maybe. So we kind of
Actually,
go through, yeah.
Jenny, if you could share this with me and then I
Sure,
can put
I
it
can
into
share.
the library in a space,
Okay.
this is
Yes.
really, really good to see, because I was actually thinking of what was out there that was created that other chapters could use and then manipulate for their area to do
Mhm.
career fair, career day kind of presentations, or at least take snippets of ideas of what you talk about.
Right. So it really is pretty robust. I think Cheryl Mankey is actually the author of this, but I like to collect things like this. You can see, there you go. There's Shoreline Community College. I kind of talked about that, Cindy, in the chat.
Yeah.
They do have, so we've reached out to universities and colleges, community colleges, to talk about, hey, and I can attest to also a successful internship. I don't know if anybody in the room has seen or have heard of the Europe program, but that is a program that where they take actual full adults, but are going to school. Like they may be the first generation members to go to college. So they're in the ages between 18 and 29 to go to college, and they allow them the ability to go pick a career. And then once they take this class for 6 months, if they pass it, they now earn a 6-month internship. And so by the year is up, they graduate from the program. So I think they've actually rebranded what they're called now, but Europe is the name. I can send you the information as well.
Okay.
And I also have an article I'll share with you guys. I even took a video of her before she exited my program to say, how was that experience? Did you get, basically when she went into the program, she said, oh, I wanted to do HR. But when this opportunity came about and her counselor told her, hey, do you want to learn about procurement? She's like, sure, it's an internship, I'll take it. So before the program, before her 6 months was up with me, she's like, I'm converted. I'm hooked. I want to be in procurement. I love it. I learn something new every day. And she actually didn't quite finish her 6 months with me because you know what? She got a contracts administrator job full time, and she had to tell me she felt bad that she had to leave me 3 weeks early, before the program ended. But I said, that's success right there. Like,
Yeah.
take it with you. Congratulations. And I'm super proud of her. So that's a success story for us. She also attended our emerging professional program with our chapter, and she was definitely a cheerleader in that room. So that's we have a lot of that with our chapter just recently. Our emerging professional is growing. Like, every month we have at least a dozen people attend it via Zoom. So it does work.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And Jenny, thank you. You said you thought
Thank
it
you.
was Cheryl Mankey that created it.
I believe so. If it's not Cheryl Mankey, it could be Teresa. I'll look it up, but I
Okay,
can share.
I want to just make sure I ask permission of who
Okay.
created that before I post it into the resource guide. But I think
I
that'll
can
be an
share
excellent
it.
resource.
I've been sharing it. I mean, I don't think that, I'm pretty sure it's Cheryl.
Okay,
I can look it up on the thing itself, but I mean, I don't think she minds that we share it, but yeah, feel free to tap her
Okay.
and
perfect.
I'll even CC her and say, hey, I'm about to share this to
Okay,
on IGP.
thank you.
Not a problem. She won't have a problem with that. And anything else in our emerging professional program, she was just in the newsletter actually about how the program went. So, I mean, I could share that as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to tap into you about that emerging professional program you have and see what we can post within the resources and highlight in the future leaders in the loop about that.
Definitely. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. That's like, yeah, because I want a copy of that too. That was amazing. Because I do a lot of work with high schoolers. I don't do like presentations to them, but I do a lot of work as far as like helping with resumes and helping them practice for interviews and things like that. So that's pretty amazing. So I've never done a job fair there. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it helps to have.
This is Fatima again.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Fatima.
I'm sorry. I just want to suggest to make sure that you have a budget for the member that goes there. Some like in our case, when I was doing it, there was no budget at all. A lot of the stuff came out of my pocket, and also like I had to take it like a vacation time because the agency will not pay for.
Yeah.
So just gonna I just want you to think about how you're gonna handle that. I mean, I'm sure that there's will be people that will give up a vacation day, to do that, and but I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both. That's amazing. Because we definitely, want to do more with high schoolers and getting them interested. And I know a lot of other chapters would love to as well. Anything else on that? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Amber. So I had the
Yeah,
same
go ahead.
thought. Anybody else had any
Yep.
information about that, or career fairs or days or collateral?
I do want to add one more thing, Jen. Speaking of costs, and I put it in the chat. So we were able to negotiate a Europe intern for 20,000 for 6 months. I mean, that's a great deal, I think. We can negotiate lower, but also I'm assuming a lot of the chapters here have a student membership, right? Do you guys have a lot of? We have some internship. I mean, some student membership. But I'm also curious to see what criteria do you use in order to allow that to, like what are the criterias that they have to meet? Is it restrictive or pretty loosey-goosey? Or do you need to show me a transcript, like show me proof that you are doing, you are a full-time student or a part-time student? Because obviously that's, free, but there's got to be some kind of accountability, and how do we check up on those things to keep them on the roster?
Anybody want to share what their criteria for student membership is?
I was trying to pull up our bylaws because it's got it in there. But it's free and it's pretty loosey-goosey from what I remember.
And I don't know it off the top of my head for NIGP, but I actually think for NIGP, they have to produce transcripts from schooling, Ginny.
Mhm.
Would not surprise me at our level, but I'm thinking
Right,
most
for your
chapters
level, for sure.
are pretty, pretty loose in that, you're just excited to have a young person in and showing interest and,
Right, exactly. I mean, we also have full adults that are going to school, right?
right.
But like one of our bylaw committee questions from our members, because we're rewriting the bylaws right now, and that's part of them, is, well, okay, let's ask a couple questions. Is your agency not willing to pay for this, $40 a year? Oh, if so, then maybe we can have that second conversation of, you know, if you are having a financial hardship, then maybe, we can have more discussion. But always start with, how does your agency support you? If they don't support you, maybe your chapter can support you in this way by giving you a free membership. But these are your responsibilities. You need to let us know that you're still a student, and when you graduate or when you finish the program, tell us again so we can change your status now from student to whatever the regular membership is, because they can't just keep writing that and not hold it accountable, because we know Club Express is not smart enough to do that. You have to put the parameters within it, and you have to work with your membership secretary to execute that, right? So those are the things we kind of think about. We definitely want to ask questions and have the rules in place, so we don't get I don't want to say a protest, but you know what I mean. You just want to make sure you understand everything that you're signing up for and what you're giving them for free.
So, Trudy with RMGPA just posted their requirements. Trudy, I'm assuming from reading this that they have to show you, they have to prove this to you for them to qualify, correct?
That would be great. We don't have any students, so I can't tell you what we have done, but we don't have any. So that would be a discussion that we would have to have.
But at least you have some policy or outline around what a student looks like. Okay, that's good. Ginny, also, this was a good question that I wrote down in my notes here for us to ask in the Insight community. We're all trying to get students and young professionals involved. So I'd be curious to post that out to all of our chapters, is just kind of seeing exactly what Cindy and Trudy are typing is, what is their policy? What are those parameters look like around a student membership?
Yeah. So Jen, sorry I have to go. Are you guys going to record the rest of the session?
Yes, it is recorded, and we'll post it in the next.
Oh, it is. Okay, perfect.
It'll be in there with this the link. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, good discussion around this. Does anybody have anything else on student memberships and, getting young people involved, and any resources that you've used or anything like that?
Hey, Amber, this is Charlie from Cleveland. How are you?
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, I just wanted to do a quick shout out. For those that attended Forum, Carl Benito started a new initiative by working with the local chapter, and then also working with a local university. And I can't remember, Jen, you might know better than me or how many, but I think he brought in like 10 college students from a local university there in Charlotte. And I believe the plan is to continue that with each form moving forward. So, so for those chapter leaders that are on here that were not at Forum and were not aware, what a great initiative Carl Benito started. And hopefully as we continue on with our future forums and getting the word out of, this initiative he started, it will continue to grow. And then with that, by getting the local chapter involved, we might be able to get, those students to become members of that local chapter.
Trudy, I'm gonna answer, get you to talk about it. But yes, it was a new initiative that we worked with Carl and NIGP in Charlotte. We do plan on doing it in Colorado. I assume that's true, what Trudy's going to talk about. but we found, I'm going to let you talk about the details of kind of how you went about that. But I think it is a great initiative to the point that we were just talking about for the last 20 minutes is of exposing them to something else. I think it's exciting that they're at Forum because I think that's a very different way to look at procurement other than in the workplace, that there is this group and network, and this is a big deal, and there's conferences for it. So I love the initiative, and I hope we can continue to do that. Trudy, what do you have to add about what we're doing for next year?
Yeah, so I will add, we are absolutely moving forward with that initiative in Denver. Molly provided him a bunch of contacts and a bunch of the local schools that are involved, and I'll be following up with Carl to see, what kind of help he needs. But we are definitely very excited about that, and then hope can get them involved in the RMGPA chapter as it gets closer, and as we have events and what that looks like. So once Forum comes about, they'll have an understanding of what, RMGPA does and what the value they offer.
And it was a whole day. It was a day with lunch. It was a day with speakers. It was a day to go to some sessions. So it was a very organized event. It wasn't just kind of that they were out on their own to mingle around. We really tried to structure it so they didn't feel lost or they understood what was happening. So I think it was very exciting. I don't know, I'd have to circle back with Carl and Belinda if we actually, kind of did a survey. What did the students think about it? Did it make a difference with them wanting to join the local chapter? So I think there's still some of that to find out as well. Thank you, Carl. Charlie, for sharing that.
Charlie. Yes, thank you, Charlie. And I'm curious, my internet froze for a second. Did anybody discuss how was that funded, Jen? Was that through Carl's chapter or Charlie?
That is a good question. Trudy, do you know with the Forum coming up about funding for it?
At this point, we haven't got to those discussions. My understanding is somebody just paid for like lunch for those guys and whatnot and breakfast at Forum. I think we're going to have a little bit more defined plan on that for next year in Denver.
Amber, I think it was either the chapter or NIGP budgeted for, there was no registration cost for the day for them. It was just the meals that were covered by one or the other for them. But yeah, Trudy, like Trudy said, I think since it was our pilot year, we really were just trying some things out and a little bit better of what worked, what didn't work. So yes, there'll be some funding. I'm just not sure if it's through NIGP or through the chapter.
Okay, perfect.
A good question.
Yep. All right. Anything else on, doing high school job fairs, working with high schoolers and college students and getting them involved in procurement? Okay.
If not, Amber, there wasn't a question by Nicole that I'd like to circle back to.
Yeah.
Real quick. She was
Yes.
talking about the hurricane efforts.
Yes.
Nicole, currently NIGP is not organizing anything itself. I don't know if we are going to at this point, but I can circle and double check on that. But as an association, I don't believe that we're doing something. I know we've been in touch with our members and people that we know in that area, but I don't know that there's an organized effort by NIGP at this point.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jennifer, this is Fatima again, and I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but just an idea for the future. Proudly as maybe the chapter ambassadors, even in IGP, what we need to do is just have like a library. Remember, those people don't have access, they don't have power or anything like that, and they're working manually. Just think yourself what will happen, if you go through a storm or fire or whatever, and you don't have all the stuff. So maybe have some support, a library, a contact for all the cooperatives, because, and maybe share with them via some type of media, some way, because I'm just thinking that those people, they have power, right? But they don't have all the information. For some reason, they don't have access to their server or anything like that. So how can NIGP help them, and in providing supplier information.
Okay.
Are you
Thank you.
following me what I'm trying to say?
I'm following you.
I'm just putting myself in a position like that, and I would like to encourage each one of you guys to do that. That way we can come up with maybe you know, a strategic plan in case if something happened. That way, you know, the NIGP and the chapters can jump in and say, hey, we have a guide for vendor. This is all the you know, cooperatives, the contact information, something that they can help in, that we can help, things like that,
Yeah,
where
we
they
have-
can hear.
AZ and IGP has a guide like that for our cooperatives.
Oh, you
on our
do, Lori?
website.
Can you share that?
Yeah,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
but what I'm saying, but you know, at this point, yeah, there is, but maybe they don't have the power. They don't have access to their server. I mean, they should, because they should have a business continuity plan. But what I'm saying in this, as a NIGP members, I mean chapters, ambassadors, we need to reach out to them. Do you have all of this information? Because just think about it, they don't have power, they don't have no servers, their servers access. So how can we share that information with them? That's what I'm trying to say. You know, be able to assist them, you know.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yep. All right, I got that down. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Fatima. And I'm not seeing anything else in the chat as far as questions that we haven't already addressed.
No,
so-
Amber, but I do want to talk, can I
Okay.
just have Trudy just talk and mention
yeah.
about this RFP Dream Team session? And a little bit about what that is, if that's something you all created, is that something other chapters could piggyback on? Can you just talk a little bit about what that is?
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, so we, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the RP Dream Team. They actually presented at Forum. It's Stephanie Dion, Victor, and Mike. I can't remember last name. Sorry, I apologize. We contracted as a chapter with them. Their sessions are typically between $300 and $400 for
Wow.
members. We used some of our scholarship funding, and we offered a 7-hour virtual class for $49, and we had tremendous turnout. We had over 100 people. Arizona chapter was fantastic and sent out a notification, but we got great feedback. It was a great session. All 3 instructors, said it was fantastic and really appreciated it. They weren't real happy with our $49 price point, but they got paid. We used our scholarship dollars to offer that at a lower cost for our members. So our members loved it. Other members from other chapters took advantage of it. And it was a great opportunity, at a discounted price for our members.
Thank you. I always tell chapter leaders, when you come off of a forum, it never hurt. If you went to a session that you love, it never hurts to reach out to them. I guarantee you most of those speakers have come up through the chapter world and would be excited to come to your chapter for whatever fee, whether it's their speaking fee, maybe some of them will do, can you just make a donation? Can you just do my travel cost? But it's a great way to look at bringing some other content. And it never hurts to ask those people that you see presenting to speak outside of the forum venue somehow.
Yeah, and it was fantastic because, like I said, it was a great price point for, everybody who attended. And yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, we had over 100 people attend, so it was fantastic.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, we've had the RFP Dream Team present at Arkansas and IGP before, and they were fantastic. It was wonderful. They can do everything, and they can kind of tailor their presentation to like an hour and a half, obviously 7-hour class. That's really cool. Thank you, Trudy. Rick?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, we had Sean Carroll down last month at our Southern New Jersey chapter meeting. And, Sean waived any fee. We just paid for his travel to come down from Albany and his lunch. And that was it. We were going to pay for his hotel to stay the night, but he, hung out for a few hours and turned around and drove right back 3.5, 4 hours to Albany. but it was great to get, a different perspective and a different speaker at our session.
Absolutely, Rick. Again, you never know. You just need to ask. And I do think a lot of these speakers will just, can you just get me down there? They're not professional speakers. They're not on the circuit. They've come up through the chapter world and would love to give back in that way. So never hurts to ask.
Yeah, certainly. That's been our experience too. We've been able to get a lot of great speakers at our chapter through just us attending forum and listening to them. So that's, yeah. And most of them will come just for travel cost. Charlie? You got your hand up?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
It takes some more time, but I just want to add to that. Obviously AI was one of the big points at Forum this year. So we are going to work with Alina and Brooke, and they're going to do their AI and procurement, and we're not going to, have them travel here to Cleveland, but we're going to do it virtually through WebEx and have them log in for one of our chapter meetings. So, and there's no cost. We just have to find time out of their schedule so they could give us like an hour-ish. But yeah, that is a great resource. So keep that in mind too. And you don't always have to have somebody come in person, especially if they're a long distance. You could, do it via WebEx or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anything else on that front? Okay. I'm going to throw it out to the group and see, are there any topics that anyone in the group would like to discuss, that you have burning questions, or maybe something cool that you're doing at your chapter level that's been really successful that you'd like to share? Okay.
Quiet today.
I know. I was like, well, not hearing anything on that front. I did want to throw out one topic and just curious to get everybody's takes on this. Does anyone have kind of like a scholarship program? And if so, kind of what does that look like at your chapter level, and how do you fund it?
We in Oklahoma do have a scholarship program. And we give out scholarships for our forum and our GP forum and any other professional development. We're going to do some revisions to the program this year because as we reviewed our application this year, there was just some questions. So we want to make it a little bit clearer and easier. But the key thing is that we try to find active members in our chapter for whatever, we don't say what it should be for. If they come in with a good reason and it's viable for professional development, we fund it. And
what does that look like? Do you have like a bucket of money that you kind of, you have a cap or something on how much you hand out per year?
We fund it through dues and also the monies that we make from our forum. We have sponsors for our forum,
Yeah.
so we a little surplus there, and that's how we make it work.
Okay, awesome. And so do you have like applications? Do they have to
We do
submit
have
applications? And
Yes.
then are the scholarships handed out based on any sort of criteria like volunteerism and things like that, or is it?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, all of the
how does
above,
that look like?
all of the above.
Okay. Would you be willing to share that application, John, especially when I know you're kind of tweaking it, but.
After we tweak it, I'll be happy to
Okay.
share. But
That'd be
I want to tweak it first.
Awesome. Charlie, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I did. Just like John, we do the same thing here and with Pano up in Northeast Ohio, and also the Columbus, Ohio branch. I'm sorry, not branch, chapter. We call them PDAs, Professional Development Assistants, and just like John mentioned, it's based on volunteerism. If you're a member of NIGP, certification, if you're writing some type of monthly newsletter or an article, or if you presented at some type of conference, or If you're members of, like NPI or other associations, and then you get major points, obviously, if how much you're involved with the chapter.
Yep.
And then the funds basically come from, we hold one event each year. We either do a golf outing one year, and then the following year we'll do like a reverse trade show. And that's where mainly we use those funds that from the revenue that we make to help fund our PDAs.
Awesome. Thank you. Trudy?
Our MGPA does have a scholarship fund, and we have had minimal results with it. We get money in our partnership agreements from our vendors. So those are annual dollars that are given to us for scholarships. But we only had 5 people apply for scholarships for the entire year. That's why we decided to take our scholarship money and reduce the cost for the RP Dream Team, because it hit more members and benefited more members to get a full day of education for $50 compared to $350, $400 for the RP Dream Team. So we are revisiting that and having discussions right now when our new partnership agreements with the vendors for January to see what that looks like, what works, what doesn't work, because that's one of the things that really did not work for us.
Interesting. Yeah, 'cause see, we do both. We subsidize classes for our members, and we do like a scholarship rewards program. So I was curious, and we fund it the same way through surpluses, through conference, and we give point with it. We have like a whole metric system, like what based, with criteria. Like this is the criteria, and these are the points that you can earn for those different criteria. So I was just curious how others did that too. Anybody else on scholarships and programs and funding and how you do that?
Nicole just posted
oh.
something there's a link in the chat.
Oh, perfect.
And Cindy just talked about hers.
Oh,
It's interesting, Trudy, that what you brought up, it was something I heard a lot about before COVID, is that chapters had money in the bank, but nobody was coming to it and asking for it. So it's this flip mindset that can we reach more people by divvying up that money, because we've made the application as easy as it can be, but nobody's filling it out. Lynn, is that what's happening with you too?
Yeah, so both OPPA and Columbia chapter, since I'm members of both of them have scholarship and kind of like that, like they both run kind of a little bit differently, and both of them have really low participation rates. Both chapters have really low participation rates. So the talent capital, you get the points for the talent capital, which is, you do whatever, volunteer stuff for the chapter or whatever, and you get points for that. And I think for Columbia chapter, I think part of what it is, and even when you have funds, it's still very, very small use that we see. So to get those points, to get those dollars every year, you have to fill in a form that says, this is what I did and I want points for it. So it's hard for our members, right, because it comes, right in the middle of the holidays. You need to fill out this form by Christmas, where, everybody's like, thank goodness we have a week where we don't have a billion things to do. And so having it so that the chapter members have to be the ones who are actively requesting those points, I think is a barrier for the people in our chapter. And they just don't think to use the points or the monies. Some of us do, some of us have. And at least with Columbia chapter, that money, you can like bank it for up to 5 years. So people do bank that money to be able to use it towards forum or use it towards, because it's not a huge amount. And the way we have for both chapters, our RVTS provides a good portion of those funds. And then for OPPA, the fall and spring conferences, what they generate there also provides funds for OPPA scholarships. So I think we have not in Oregon generally had good success with our scholarships programs, except for like if you're like offsetting the cost of a class, that I think OPPA has had pretty good success with. But using the talent capital points, there's not a lot of that. Doesn't happen a lot.
Thanks, Lynn. I agree. And,
Yep.
and Trudy, and I think that's what you're doing in RMGPAs. You had to look at it differently. You know, we had money, but people weren't coming to it. But how do we really get it out to our membership? So Trudy, I commend you guys for thinking about that little differently. Really, if you're a chapter that they're not going to feed it that way, how do we still give back to our chapter in a different way? And like Amber said, you know, you guys have offset classes before too. So that's not an uncommon thing to happen. Is there anybody that doesn't have scholarship money? You just can't give them out? You need money? Well, that's good.
I can always use more money.
Yeah.
You can always use more, of course. Well, and I
Yeah.
know after COVID, that was a big deal for many chapters because you didn't host your reverse trade shows or your conferences, or the suppliers didn't feel that they participated like they normally do to write those big checks. So I think we've turned the corner a little bit in starting to fill those banks back up with that kind of money. But I was just curious if any chapter kind of was feeling like we really want to be offering scholarships, but just don't have the money to do it.
All right. Anything else on scholarships? Subsidizing classes? What have people done as far as subsidizing classes? Like, do you get NIGP to offer it? Do you partner with just people that you've heard at forum? What are others doing with that in terms of educational content?
We rely a lot on the business council. That's how we do a lot of stuff we do here.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it doesn't cost anything to have the business council come.
And
Yeah,
that's why we go.
yeah, that's a good point. I've seen them more and more and more at the conferences that I've attended. You know, just as an ambassador going around, I've seen them more and more. So that's good that people are utilizing that.
In Kentucky, we subsidized, or we paid for completely up to 20 people to take the introduction to procurement class. We paid for the whole class, but what I found was that if they didn't have an investment themselves or their agency, it was very easy just not to show up.
Yep. We did the same thing. Gosh, that was probably like 7 years ago. We offered a class for free, and there was so much interest that we filled the class up, right? Well, then the morning of the class, there's like 5 people that didn't show up. And then that's like, there were like 5 people kind of that could have taken it. So it's just a little, so we do the same thing. We do $50, make you have a little bit of skin in the game to make sure that you attend. And then we subsidize the rest. But yeah.
Yeah, I like Trudy, that like when she said that, I was like, that's a great idea to at least get a little, like you said, a little skin in the game.
Yep, we had to do that because that was a little, like I said, you hate it for like the people that were waiting, you know, that could have taken the class. So anyway. All right.
And Cindy offered something a little bit different. Before their reverse trade show, they pay for an NIGP class the day before, which I think is a nice alternative. We have a couple chapters that try to tie a class in or around your conference or reverse trade show, but that's actually something you fund, Cindy, from your chapter then as a member benefit before another large event that you have.
Yes, and we this year knew for professional development, we gave away a free class at our July meeting for those in attendance, their names went in a hat, and we pulled it out, and they got a free class.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we do that at conference. We give away free registration for next year's conference. We also give away free NIGP virtual forums as well. So for members, so they can, the chapter pays for their virtual forum for them to be able to attend. So just another thought of a way to give back to your members.
And I just want to ask Lisa about her comment of running into challenges to paying for scholarships to register for NIGP courses. Lisa, are you saying that you got a scholarship from your chapter and you're having a hard time using that chapter money to register and get that class?
I was responsible for divvying out the scholarship amounts that were awarded and using those to apply, to courses or events that the scholarship awardees were given. And so it's just the online system.
Gotcha.
When you go on to register, you can't register anybody else but yourself. And I was told that NIGP was looking into that. So I didn't know if anybody else would run into that challenge and possibly had workarounds, because we were kind of running the risk of either sharing the credit card information or sharing login information, which nobody really wants to do. So just, wanted to provide that in case anybody else had experienced it as well.
And thank you for Lisa. I mean, that's something I will certainly take back. We're, in the process, NIGP of shopping for a new database. So certainly there's some things about other people being able to do things for other people, sending invoices. So there's some issues with our system, obviously, that we're having, but I will make note of that again, and inquire about that internally as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We had that issue too, Lisa, with the giving away of the virtual things. So right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see, Jen, we've got 8 minutes. Do you want to talk about, or you want to do the poll?
Sure. I hope I set this up right. I'm trying to teach myself polls and stuff. Come in the next couple engagements that we have with our chapter leaders through our huddles, through our leader calls that are going to happen later this month, and registering for Chapter Academy. I am just curious to start gathering some information of the most important topics you all want to be talking about. I mean, I think I could probably check everything off the list and agree that they are, but I asked if you guys could pick your top two. I want to make sure that while I think all of them are important and chapters are going to be saying, yes, we need to be talking about this, really when I get some, FaceTime with leaders with Academy or putting webinars together, what really are those most important subject matters for you? So let me put this up. Let's see if it works. Oh, there you go. Yep. What topics are you most interested in spending time discussing on? We have budgeting, fundraising, board orientation development, volunteer recruitment, membership recruitment, education, training and learning, social events, marketing, member opportunities other than events. Now, again, just pick two. Come on, ambassadors, you get in there too. So we have membership recruitment is up there. And the member engagement opportunities other than events. Love that. Peggy will love to know about that because she likes to be talking about, other than butts and seats at education, what other ways to get your members involved that are not just around coming to a class or a brown bag or a round table thing. Oh, so this is perfect. Thank you guys. This is really what I wanted to hear. So thank you. And everybody responded but me. So you guys are awesome on this Friday afternoon, morning. That's all that I had today. And again, thank you for those results. Is there anything else for the good of the group that we want to discuss? No? Okay, if not, then thank you guys so much for today. Appreciate you. As always, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to your ambassadors, myself, Amber. Thank you for facilitating for us today. I appreciate it. And everybody have a great Friday.
All
Thank
right,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amber.
Thank you. No problem, Jen.